behalf of the Minister in Session of Calendar Kirk, I just welcome you this evening. Great to see you, and I know you're in for a follow treat this evening. It's my pleasure to introduce the choir from Westmont College in Santa Barbara, California. One or two of you may have seen some programs about the town. The only clue that this was an American choir was a faint picture of stars and stripes on the left-hand side. So you can work out for yourself where Westmont College is. But in fact, they're from the US of A, California, West Coast, so they've come quite a way to sing to us this evening. On the back of your program, you'll see the choir's itinerary. They started off 2 days ago on Iona. What better place to start? And they finish on the 23rd of May with a concert in Southwark Cathedral in London. If you want to go to any of the other concerts, then they'll be delighted, I know, to see you there. There are around 50 in the choir, and we're looking forward very much to the programme. There's a gent sitting at the organ whom we're going to hear as an accompanist and as soloist a little later on. Please welcome Dr. Steve Hudson. This choir from the chamber singers, and their conductor will be introduced when it's their turn to sing. But right now, the Westmont College Choir, all of them, they're going to give her their best. I've heard a CD, I've heard a brief excerpt this afternoon. I know you'll enjoy them. Please welcome the conductor as they're about to sing the first number, and that is Dr. Michael Shasberry.
And this by Mark Shepard, I've forgotten, it's supposed to be on the microphone. This by the contemporary American composer Mark Shepard. But the text, however, is back to the 6th century of St. Ambrose and Martin Luther in the 16th century, and then translated more recently into English. Great text that just insists that Jesus comes into the world and how we perceive that with such glory and such wonder.
Come.
already. Certainly the overwhelming spiritual character of Iona was just a delight to begin our trip with. And this afternoon we sang a concert at St. George's Con Church in Glasgow, and that was really wonderful to be in that very interesting acoustical and architectural environment. And to be here today with you is a real joy for us. I notice above the chancel is the beautiful stained glass window, and at the very top of that is the Latin text Agnus Dei, Lamb of God. So we'd like to sing this next piece, which is that exactly. It's the setting of the Agnus Dei by Ola Galo, a 21st century Finnish composer, and he calls his piece Phoenix, which is not related to the bird, but rather to the choir that he wrote it for. He dedicated this piece to the Phoenix, Arizona, USA, Bach choir. And it's a gift to them of this beautiful text, the Agnus Dei, Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, have mercy upon us, grant us peace. And it's expansive tonally, it just keeps opening up wide to that grace and that peace to overwhelm us. Agnus Dei or Phoenix by Ola Galo. here in Scotland. The sun goes down in Santa Barbara about 7 o'clock. So we stayed up all night watching the sun until 9:30 and 10. It's wonderful. We'd like to sing a piece by the Scandinavian composer Egil Hovland, entitled Be With Us. It's with your wonderful pipe organ. The next two selections will be with the organ here, Dr. Hudson joining us and accompaniment. This piece is a very unique experience. It's a short text from the Gospel of John, simply an invitation for Jesus to be with us as evening comes. A beautiful piece for an evening concert. And that's the whole text of the opening and closing petition. But the invitation surrounds the prayer from the Old Testament of a text from an individual I've never gotten to sing before or ever seen set in music. It's the prayer of Jonah. And think what Jonah was praying about. For deliverance from the belly of the fish. So there's some wonderful text here that you may never have heard sung about weeds wrapping around my head. And my favorite line is, to mountain floors I was cast down. And think about the mountains and the sea that Jonah was cast into. So our world is a bit turned upside down in the expression of this piece. A very evocative prayer for deliverance and salvation at the very end, Jonah realizes, is of the Lord. And the invitation then for Jesus to be with us. Very dramatic between the organ and the chorus and the proclamation of this rather gripping text.
Oh
have our chamber singers up next, and we'd like to close this first portion of the program with a very festive anthem by the Welsh composer William Matthias. You might know Mr. Matthias' work by his common use in church services, or perhaps most famously, the great anthem he wrote for a royal wedding. Perhaps not this last one, but the one before that. Charles and Diana, when he wrote, "Let all the peoples praise thee," the great anthem that was sung at that service. We'll sing "Lift Up Your Heads, O Ye Gates," set for a rather festive occasion on its own, typically done on a Palm Sunday, with the entry to Jerusalem. Dr. Hodson again accompanying on organ, and lots of excitement and proclamation amidst the choir.
Perhaps I could mention, ladies and gentlemen, that this evening's concert will finish around 9, in case you're wondering how long we're going to have to suffer the uncomfortable church seats. Around about 9, unless you clap for 3 or 4 encores, of course, that would be wonderful. The other thing I wanted to mention was that the following is the 28th, another concert in the Kirk here, which I hope many of you will come to visit. That's the 3rd annual concert of Calendar Brass, the brass band in Calendar. 3rd annual concert, some interesting and exciting music there. Not only the band, but the training band and a new primary school group that was just recently formed. Our special guests for the evening are Calendar Corral. So not only a double or triple, but a quadruple feat in stroke. That's a fortnight tonight, 28 Calendar, 7:30. Thank you very much. And then you can sit and chat among yourselves to the chamber choir.
We'll be singing. To begin with, a very special piece of music from the New World, from New Spain. This is a bit of the Lamentations of Jeremiah the prophet. Now, we're in the season of Easter, so this is not entirely appropriate, but if you can cast back a few weeks to Holy Week, that's the period during which this piece would have been sung. Composed by Antonio Rodriguez Mata, he was a Spanish composer who came to direct the music at the Mexico City Cathedral. This piece was performed first in around 1640. So it's music that we don't hear a lot of, music from the cathedrals of Latin America. It's becoming more and more common. This happens to be a piece that I edited from the manuscript from the cathedral, so probably very few have heard it until now. But we're just singing three parts of this from De Lamentazione Jeremiah Prophete, Lamentations of Jeremiah the Prophet, and I'll give you the text. We'll sing the beginning part, the second part, and the last part. And by the way, you may know that the Lamentations are an acrostic poem, and each verse begins with a Hebrew letter, and each letter is sung. In this case, we'll be singing the first section, De Lamentazione, which is from the Lamentations of Jeremiah the Prophet. The second section, Heth, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. And the final section, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, return to the Lord your God.
Oh Free.
We'll go to turn of the century, that is, previous century, music hall song that perhaps you've heard before. I do like to be beside
Everyone delights to spend the summer holiday down beside the silvery sea. And the reception to the room invited by the way by beside the silvery sea. But when you're just a corner garden looking down like me, a chance to see the sea is quite a novelty. I save up all the money I can pop into spend and pray. Then on my road to have some fun when the lonely breezes play. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside, seaside. I do like to be beside the sea. Oh, I do like to stroll upon the prom, where the brass bands play till the just let me be beside the seaside, seaside. I'll be beside myself and thee. And there's lots of girls beside. I should like to be beside the seaside, beside the sea. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside, seaside. I do like to be beside the sea. Oh, I do like to stroll upon the prom, where the brass bands play till the just let me be beside the seaside, seaside. I'll be beside myself and thee. And there's lots of girls beside. I should like to be beside the seaside, beside the sea.
Who would have thought that would be our favorite song? This is another one we enjoy singing. The African American spiritual tradition is a big one. As you know, in the States, there have been, and there continue to be, many wonderful arrangements of African American spirituals. We have 3 in our repertoire this year, and we'd like to finish this evening with one of those. Ain't it that good news?
I got a crown up in a kingdom, in that good news. I got a crown up in a kingdom, in that good news. Gonna lay down this word, gonna shoulder up my cross, gonna take it home to my Jesus, in that good news. I got a crown up in a kingdom, in that good news, good news. I got a crown up in a kingdom, in that good news. Gonna take it home.
beautifully contrived text. Its technical term for those musicians who've trained extensively is a trope. And a trope is a poem based on an idea or a very simple text. And the composer in this case took a 5th century trope or extension of a very simple text. And that simple text is from the end of the Passion story, when Joseph of Arimathea goes to Pilate and asks for the body of Jesus to be buried in his own new tomb. And that's all the gospel tells us. Well, do you imagine that that's all that Joseph had to say? And the composer of the poem says, no, there was much more dialogue. And this whole piece is based upon what that dialogue might have been in the piece, Give Me That Stranger. The words, imagine that Joseph might have spoken. And in the midst of that, we also hear a reflection of Mary, of her seeing her son on the cross, crucified, and also glorified, that this sacrifice of glory will be given to us. A very dramatic piece, and 4 soloists will tell the story while the choir encants this enchanting, spiritual, deeply haunting feeling of give me that stranger underneath, until they too explode in the realization of the glory that surrounds us in this event. Listen carefully to the soloists, and they'll step up so you can sort of see and hear them at the same time. As they tell this made-up poem, describing the dialogue that Joseph might have had with Pilate.
When he saw that the sun had hidden its rays, and that the veil of the temple was rent as the Savior died, Joseph of Arimathea went to Pilate, leading
case of Herrick's poetry, he cites that the best of all the house is found in the heart. So prepare a place for Christ in your heart. the African American spiritual tradition that our chamber singers shared a bit, and we opened this last portion of the program with, always tells wonderful stories. And so often, because of the conditions of the people that were singing them, they tell stories of deliverance. There are few tales of deliverance more powerful than that of Daniel in the lion's den. And this next piece talks of that fiery time, that great calamity that Daniel was in, and how he was rescued from the very jaws of the lion. Daniel, Daniel, undying sin more.
Oh, the King cried, oh,
Thank you very much for joining us on this beautiful spring evening. It's been a delight to be here. We have been astonished by all the beauty and delight that we've shared in Scotland these 2 days. We have a couple of days left. We're off to Stirling Castle to sing. You can see in our program where we're going to be in the next 2 days. If you know friends or would like to come by, we'd surely love to share those with you as well. But it's just a great joy to experience people and culture and the sounds and just feel this beautiful country. Thank you so much for being with us tonight to help us celebrate it. We'd like to close tonight with a piece from the American gospel tradition, a piece of great confidence in the Lord and His place in our lives. The American composer combination writing this piece is Fanny Crosby and then Nancy Worth. 19th century and 20th century collaboration, some 150 years apart, it's very powerful. The composer said when she first heard these texts of this piece, well, of course, the tune is Blessed Assurance, and she sat down and began to play it. She was also blind, and just heard this music and immediately heard it in her mind, in her ear, and translated it to the keyboard. And this very powerful arrangement is awfully fun to sing. The men begin with great stentorian sounds, joined by the women as it gets more and more ecstatic toward the end. We thank you again for coming, and we close with this wonderful setting of Blessed Assurance.
Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine, heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior This is my song, praising my Savior. Oh, the day, oh, the day, oh, the day. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Salvation, purchase of God. Oh, what of His Spirit, who